Alright, here we go. Let's expand and condense these. Very simple. They're simpler than what you just did on your quiz. So let's do expand. We'll do just a couple real quick. Condense. Okay, here we go. When you're expanding today, they might look like that. That's it. They do not get very complicated because you already did all the complicated stuff when it came to logarithms, okay? But I will tell you the properties are exactly the same. What's the opposite of multiply for a logarithm? Add. You're going to add these. So I would just say that this is the natural log of x plus the natural log of y, okay? Make sense? Exactly the same rules. It's just natural log, not logarithm, okay? What if you saw 4 natural log of x over y? Let me put this in parentheses like that. Okay? Does this 4 affect both?
Yes.
Yes. So you would say the natural log of x over y to the 4th power, right? Now, let's keep expanding it. So it's going to become, oh, wait a minute. I wrote this out wrong. Hold it. I got ahead of myself. Can I do this? Let me do that. This is what it would look like because we're expanding it, okay? So, do we agree that this 4 affects both? So I'm going to write it like this. Where do exponents go? In the front. So it'd be 4. Now, since this affects both and we have it in parentheses, I'm just going to write parentheses, the natural log of x. What's the opposite of division?
Subtraction.
And there we go. We're done. Okay? Do you see that it's exactly the same as before, but they're on a little bit easier level? Okay? Good. Condensing. They're going to do this. They'll go 2 natural log of x plus 3 natural log of y. Something like that. Okay? When you're condensing, you just work left to right. You don't worry about stuff over here. I just work left to right. Right off the bat, I notice I have a 2 in front, so I immediately know that that's an exponent, the natural log of x squared. Okay? And then a plus sign is times. I have a 3, so I move it right to the front, or to the exponent. And that's it. Okay? So again, when I'm condensing, I just go left to right. Now, just to make this problem so we maybe don't have to do another full example, what if I had a 1 like that, 1/3 log of y? Okay? So this would be 1/3. What do fractions as exponents mean to us? Not -1, it's a radical, right? Why did the 1/3 just means the cube root of y? Okay, so if you see a fraction as an exponent, it's a root. It's either a square root, a cube root, a 4th root, whatever it is. Okay? Sarissa, this is the 2nd time I asked you to put your phone away. The 3rd time, I will take it. No, I'm not going to give you a minute. Put it away.
Oh my God, I put it away.
Well, that's the 3rd time. How many times does
It's
it
not-
take?
it's
Yes,
not
it
the
is.
Time, and I'm trying to have a conversation with
Well,
somebody.
I'm trying to do something too. All right. Any questions? Condensing. Very simple, right? It's the same rules. Nothing changes, okay? All right. Here's our last thing. Last thing, and this is what's going to be a little bit different. Last hour, I kind of started off with a super, well, not a super, but a little bit harder problem. So I'm going to tone it down a little bit. So let's say I give you this, and I want you to solve it. Okay? So let's go something like this. Solve that. So let me ask you this. This problem is exactly like your quiz that you did on the front page. If I ask you to evaluate a logarithm and I do something like this, what do we always set it equal to? X. And then didn't you just go 2 to the x equals 3? You would go 2 to the x equals 3 and you'd go to work. We're going to do the exact same thing here, but here's what's different. We don't see a base. When you have a natural logarithm, it does have a base. Add e. Now you just do everything exactly like we just did. It's the same procedures. The only thing different is everything will be done on a calculator because e is a decimal, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to add e. You will never see your book put an e on a logarithm. Just like logarithms will never put a 10 down there. They will never do that. So you can physically add it. Now we just go e to the third equals 2x. How do you get x by itself? Divide by 2. Try this on your calculators. Take e to the third divided by 2. Okay? So e to the third divided by 2.
On the test sheet, are you going to write the e's?
No, I can't.
Well, how are we going to know which one is like...
You just know that whenever you have a natural logarithm, you physically add e as its base. I'll show you a couple more. Are we getting 10.0428? There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to see kind of how easy these are. Here's another one. The natural log of x plus 1 equals 5. Natural log of x plus 1 equals 5. I want you to solve it. So since I have a natural log, I will just immediately write e there. So now, go to work. E to the 5th equals x plus 1. And what do you got to do to get x by itself? Okay, so do that on your calculators now. Take e to the 5th minus 1. Is that what it should be 147.4132. So go e to the 5th, which, if you want to break it up in parts, e to the 5th is 148.4132. Now subtract 1 from that. Okay? Got her? Sarissa, just take your phone to the office, since it's that important. Yeah.
Why can't you just subtract 1 from the other?
You can, that's what I did. I just typed in my calculator e to the 5th minus 1.
It's 9 again.
Okay? We good? That's as hard as they get. I guess, wait, there's one more. I got it in my notes. Last one of these. And I got one more thing and we're done. How about this one? This one's just, it's kind of old. It's doing stuff that we haven't done for a long while. So let's make sure we can do it. Okay. Look at that. So, again, anything with a natural log, base e. So I'm going to go e squared equals x minus 3 squared. So we still do everything exactly the same, but we haven't done these in a long time. How do you get rid of a square? You square root it. So to solve this problem, I have to square root both of them. Now this is kind of nice, and this will happen. What's the square root of a square always going to be?
E.
It's just going to be e. Now if you're like, wait a minute, I don't see that, then just type it in. What is the second square root of e squared? And notice you're going to get, your calculator is going to tell you it's 2.7183. It's e. You know, the second square root of, or the square root of any square is just whatever that is. So there you go. Now just add 3 and you're done. Okay? 5.7183. So do you see, have you noticed that every answer we get is exponents, or excuse me, fraction? Decimals is what I'm trying to say. Everything's a decimal because e is 2.7183. It's always a decimal, so it makes sense. All right, we good? So anytime you see a natural logarithm, just add e physically on your own. All right, and here's our last thing. Again, kind of simple to do. Let's look back at a different problem. This was on your last quiz. What would you do if you cannot convert to common bases? How would I solve that? You would just take the log of both sides. Okay, and then we would go to work. Well, with natural logs, it looks like this. Let's do an easy one. That might look like that. So like people, sometimes people get mixed up like, well, how do I know if I take the log of both sides? Or how do I know if I take the natural log of both sides? If it's base E, you do the natural log of both sides. If they're just numbers, you take the log of both sides. So here, since this is a natural log, now I'm gonna always ask you this, can you convert 2 to base E? No. So we take the natural log of both sides. The natural log of e to the x equals the natural log of 2. So the only time you do ln is when it's base e. Where do exponents always go? Okay? Now, watch this. On your calculator, do this for me so you can see what happens. Take the natural log of e to the first. Now I want you to tell me what you get. What's the natural log of e to the first? It's 1.
What?
It's 1. It's not even e, it's 1. If you take the natural log of e to the first power, your answer is 1.
How do you get natural log on the calculator?
The ln button right below logarithm. ln.
What's
Second.
No,
element,
no,
just
the
go
natural
with
log is the big key. E
I
is
got it.
second big, that.
Yeah, but how do you do that? Because it puts it in parentheses.
So if I want to do this, let me enter it as I'm talking here. So if I want to know what the natural log of e is, I'd go second natural log, or never mind, I'd go natural log. My calculator immediately adds a parentheses, right? So I'd go e, so I go second e. Now mine, mine moves the exponent to the top. You might have a caret symbol, whatever your calculator does, just type in 1 in parentheses. And my answer is 1.000. So, what is the natural log of e always going to be? It's always going to be 1. I could just cross that off. The natural log of e is always 1. So you're just left with x equals that. Type that into your calculator now. So the natural log of 2 is 0.6931. Okay? So keep that in mind. It's not wrong if you did this and said, well, I'm going to divide both sides by the natural log of e. That's not wrong to do that, but the natural log of e is 1 every single time. You're just taking this divided by 1. Okay? Last one. We'll make this one a little bit different. This would be probably the hardest you would see. But I want you to think about what you did with logarithms and other stuff. What would you do what would you do first, you think? I would get rid of the 1. Don't we want to get e by itself, at least get the base by itself? So I would subtract 1, which is 6. Then I divide by 3, exactly. So I get e to the 2x equals 2. I'm going to ask you this every single time. Can you convert 2 to base e? No. So we're going to take the natural log of both sides. Since it's base e, I will just take the natural log. Where do exponents always move? And what is log base e always? I just do this. I just cross it off. Natural log of e is 1 every single time. So my last step, how do I get x by itself?
2.
Good. Okay, so on your calculators, just take the natural log of 2, ln of 2 parentheses, divided by 2. 0.3466. Okay? So 2 things to remember. What base is always on a natural logarithm? Base e. Okay? And what is the natural log of e always? 1. Kind of remember those 2 things, and it makes this go faster, and then it makes it really easy to set this up. E to the 3rd equals 2x. Okay? Any questions? All right, so tomorrow, maybe I'll kind of do some interest formulas. Those are kind of fun to do and see how much money you lose whenever you get loans. So we'll maybe do that, but we're also just start kind of reviewing a little bit. We'll start reviewing a little bit. And then we'll take our chapter test on Thursday. Okay? All right. It is going to be out of the book today. So you got to grab a book, sorry. But the rest of the week will be worksheets. Okay. I know, well, let me write out the problems. It's 11 through 37. So it is a little bit more, but I'll even do a couple and show you how easy they are. So grab a book real fast, or just take a picture of page 481 if that's what you like to do. All right. I'll do